I have an absolutely wild story for you guys today. I don't even know where to begin. Basically, Israel is spending millions of dollars to propagandize American Christians. Now, I know that may sound like a conspiracy theory to some, but it's not. It is public record fact. In fact, I'm going to leave links to everything I'll talk about today in the description down below. So if you don't believe me, just watch. No, if you don't believe me, read it for yourself. So this year, in 2025, a new LLC was formed called the Show Faith by Works LLC. And in late September, just a few days ago, they filed under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, also known as FARA, and described the goals of their LLC as to create positive associations with the nation of Israel while linking the Palestinian population with extremist factors. Excuse me, what? And they have been given a budget of close to $4 million by Israel to do this. But to what exactly? What exactly are they trying to accomplish? Well, they go into greater detail in the filing. And the sole focus of Show Faith by Works LLC is to target evangelical Christian conservatives. Because historically, Christian conservatives have been one of the largest supporters of Israel. But in recent years, Israel has been losing ground with them fast, particularly among the under 30 crowd. In 2018, they polled the evangelical Christian conservative youth from the ages of 18 to 30 and found that 69% of them approved of Israel. They then did the same exact poll 3 years later in 2021. Only this time they found 33% of them approved of Israel. They lost over half of their support among young Christian conservatives in 3 years. And keep in mind, that was in 2021. We're in 2025 now. Do you think support for Israel has gone up or down since then? And so to combat this, they plan to do the largest geofencing campaign in history. If you're unaware, a geofence is an invisible digital fence that uses GPS and cell data information to create a virtual boundary around a specific area. So if anyone crosses that invisible fence, even though they don't know it's there, with their phone or any other piece of technology, they can then be tracked and targeted. Show Faith by Works plans to put up these geofences at over 300 different churches in California, Nevada, Colorado, and Arizona, so that anyone that goes to these churches, anyone that crosses through these invisible fences, will be sent pro-Israel and anti-Palestine propaganda. One example of the type of pro-Israel content they want to share is to emphasize Israel's biblical and historical significance and Israel's efforts to uphold civilian safety and moral superiority in wartime, and to emphasize its place in the Christian New Testament, suggesting a Christmas message about the birthplace of Jesus. Aww. And an example they provided of the anti-Palestine content would be asserting Palestinians are complicit in Hamas's leadership, financing, and military operations, and accusing them of sheltering terrorists, hiding weapons in schools and hospitals, and celebrating the October 7th attack. Well, that's not good. Show Faith by Works has listed most of the churches they're targeting. I encourage you to look it up and see if your church is on the list. They have targeted 38 churches in Arizona, which is where I live, and they do not need the church's permission to do this. Now, I've looked through the list and I do not see my church listed, but I do see our neighboring church listed. There's a church about a mile away from my church, and they're on the list. And my sister, who also lives in Arizona, but a different town, her church is also on the list. But again, not all the churches they're targeting have been publicly released. In fact, they say there are some churches in Phoenix that they're targeting that they have not admitted to yet. So, my church could very well be on the list. I could be getting tracked right now. Good, I was starting to feel left out. And when it comes to geofences, you can often do a lot more than just send ads. You can track people, see how often they're at church, how long they stay at church, where they go after church, learn their daily routines so that you can send them personalized propaganda ads. Isn't that lovely? They're learning so much about us. But their plan doesn't stop at geofencing. They also plan to distribute materials to pastors to highlight the importance of Israel and the Jewish people to Christians. Hey guys, just wanted to remind you how important I was to you. You're welcome. They are also reaching out to pastors, trying to get them to write, share, and preach pro-Israel messages and content, and host pro-Israel events. And they're trying to hire prominent Christian figures to be their spokespersons. People like Chris Pratt, Tim Tebow, Stephen Curry, John Vaught, and mega pastors like Mark Driscoll, who has a church here in Arizona, which is oddly not on the targeted list, which is weird, and Rick Warren. And these are just some of the people they have listed. These aren't even all the names they listed. And they are, of course, also reaching out to online Christian influencers, trying to sponsor them so they'll post pro-Israel content in an effort to win over the Christian youth.
If you want to reach the Christian youth,
you have to pay the influencers to propagandize them.
And this is, of course, on top of TikTok already being bought by a pro-Israel Zionist, and Benjamin Netanyahu being on record as saying TikTok is one of the greatest weapons Israel has. But I guess that's beside the point. And this is where things get even wilder. Somehow. They also plan to build a $50,000 VR experience truck that they'll have built using their Hollywood connections. Well, that's weird. Israel and Hollywood connections? I thought you got canceled if you said things like that. But that's what they have listed. The sole purpose of this truck is to give the viewers a real lifelike experience of what the October 7th attacks felt like from an Israeli's point of view. So you get in the truck and then they make you feel like you're being attacked by Hamas. And they plan to drive this truck from church to church in an effort to drum up support for Israel. That is like the textbook definition of emotional manipulation. Oh, you don't support Israel much? Well, why don't you jump inside my $50,000 Hollywood indoctrination machine and we'll see if you change your mind. Now, the CEO behind Show Faith by Works LLC is a man named Chad Schnitger. We're getting awful close to a hate crime on that one. And Chad Schnitger is also the founder of the California chapter of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. What is that, you ask? It's an advocacy group designed to promote Zionism under the guise of Christianity. Sounds like they picked the right guy for the job. Now, the work of Show Faith by Works LLC is being overseen by Aaron Shayovic? I did try. And he is the chief of staff at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. And he is spearheading Project 545, which is a campaign to amplify Israel's strategic communication and public diplomacy efforts. Basically, he's the head of propaganda. Shayovic is also the point of contact for Brad Parscale, Trump's former campaign manager, who is now leading efforts to create new websites and content to train ChatGPT on behalf of Israel. Something's kinda funky. Israel is also having Brad Parscale recruit Gen Z influencers to help combat anti-Semitism online, and they are paying him $1.5 million a month to do all this. Is that not all absolutely insane? And keep in mind, everything you just heard is being done on less than a $4 million budget. But Project 545, which again is Israel's effort to use digital platforms and online creators to promote Israel, has a budget of $150 million. So if they're doing all of this with $4 million, what do you think they're doing with the other 146? You know, I don't really care where you fall on the Israel issue. Well, actually I do care. I care quite a lot. Letting a foreign nation run propaganda campaigns not only just inside your country, which would be bad enough, but inside your local churches, trying to tell you what to think and feel, is not good. To say the least. I no likey. Now, sadly, in this modern world, everyone seems to only see things in black and white. Oh, you don't like Israel propagandizing you? Well, then you must be one of them pro-Palestinian libtards. Oh, you don't go to the Free Palestinian protests? Well, then you must be a hateful bigot. You guys realize there's a third option, right? I don't want any part of any of this. Why are we in the middle of this? Why are we funding their war? Why are we sending all of our money overseas? Now look, I don't hate anyone, and I'm not anti-Semitic, but I am beyond done. I am beyond tired with shipping billions upon billions of dollars to Israel every single year. And for what? What do we get out of it? The US is trillions of dollars in debt. We are constantly raising taxes because supposedly we don't have enough money to pay for what we need to pay for. And yet at the same time, we're shipping billions overseas? Someone explain that to me. Actually, don't explain it to me. Just stop doing it. And I am beyond done with Israel meddling and manipulating US politics and business. Like, buzz off. Leave us alone. And you know what the worst part is? We send billions of dollars to Israel each year, and now Project 545 is using $140 million to propagandize us. Where do you think they're getting that money from? Us. We are paying Israel to propagandize us. Dude, how retarded can we possibly get? People like to blame Israel, but it's not even their fault. At least not entirely. We're the morons giving them the money to do this. We're the morons allowing them to do this. And quite frankly, I am just sick of it. I'm done, dude. I want to break free. If you have friends and family that go to church in any of the aforementioned states, send them this video. Or if you know any Christians at all, just send them this video. And I'll catch you next time. Unless they kill me. Because they like to do that. From time to time. And by time to time, I mean all of the time.